accessible for people to observe in this way, and it also eliminates the problem we were having with just this slant. This, because we were saying how it's the effects of terrestrial and marine, it's not literally divided in half, and so I think that also conveys that idea. And this. Oh yeah, and this way people don't block, like when you, before the table, a person's kind of blocking the observation, but this way they can see this here, and there can be people around it that can also observe what's going on up here.
So which way is the content oriented? In other words, is the timeline?
So there is no more physical timeline.
Okay.
It's like timeline concept still.
Okay.
So for here, we're going to have, this will be the terrestrial world, and that is oriented up and down.
Okay.
And for the marine world, it'll be oriented, so if there's going to be here.
Okay, so it's like land and ocean.
And ocean still, yeah.
Okay.
But then when, it's more of that seamless integration of history.
Okay.
More thematic.
Yeah.
Timeline thing is out there.
Do we have the other one? Do it orange. Okay, so you'd be given your figurine still, and there would be an area highlighted for you to start the journey.
That's here.
Okay, so you place the figurine down, and this bubble pops up, giving you some data about the population, the time period that we're in, and it guides you towards another.
That was a good thing.
Yeah, guides you to another area, and also simultaneously, this part would introduce the species. So in this case, we're using the humpback whale. So it would tell you about what it is, maybe some fun facts, just kind of to create this bond between the species and what is, like just kind of give you context of this animal.
So big area. Okay, but if this is land, and you've got the humpback whale.
Well, this is just this, like to give, like to introduce you to the species first.
Okay.
So that you can have this emotional bond with it.
So we don't know anything about the land yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
So one, we're in 1700, and so it's just kind of, it's more as an introduction. So then you would be, so after you have that, maybe some animation and some stuff about, and when the line pops up and a new hotspot is available, what would you do?
Is that what I'm supposed to do?
Yeah. So as you move across, you see that we've hit the Industrial Revolution, and that the population of whales has gone down to 15.
And then this info stays?
Yeah, this will
Good,
stay.
okay.
Yeah. Okay, so as we branch out, so there would be, there you go. There would be some satellite information, and here it would change to. We tell you about the American or the World Industrial Revolution and its impact on the humpback whale.
I see.
And here, then, if you wanted to, you could move to these satellite areas, and you would have more information about, say, like for baleen. Yeah. So, like, why did we use baleen? You know. So then there'd be a smaller pop-up window that overlaid over the overarching thing of the Industrial Revolution, and you would learn that we use baleens to create whips, hoop skirts, what else? Anything basically that we would now use plastic, we used to use for whale baleen. So, we forgot the.
Or like, or whether this experience.
Animate physically. Can I have a little
Yeah.
So this is 1904. Yeah, so when you put that on, you're prompted to come to the next one,
I just felt like maybe when
which is,
it was just like a.
oh yeah, so then now you get,
So then we move.
yeah,
Because it's what we're gonna show.
you would move, and it would, very similar animation. Pretend it was secret. And the satellites would pop up, and then this information would change. And here in 1905, we can see that commercial whaling really started to take off in Antarctica and became more, I guess you could say, it was more open to the world. And advances in technology whaling technology really took off during this time as well. So there was explosive fishing, dynamite fishing, globalization as a result of World War II, and then mechanized like harpooning. Like they could use a machine now to shoot and to pull back. It didn't take manpower anymore, so it made things much easier, so they could hunt much faster. And this caused the whale population to go down to 1,500. So it's the same thing. You could move over to mechanized harpooning. Like, what is that? And a little pop-up would happen in information like that.
So I mean, I really like this kind of step-by-step infographic bill. Couple questions. Where's the land in all this?
This here. This is the land. This is what's happening on land.
Except, I mean, advanced whaling technology and the boom of whaling is happening on land.
Yeah, we create these technologies like in our human world, not in the marine world.
But
These are more like themes.
We removed the land animals.
Yeah, we took out the animal, like you had said.
Yeah, from last time, I think
Yeah.
when we were testing it with Gary, he's like, he didn't quite get it.
Yeah,
Right?
it will-
We're thinking like we're reading two books at the same time, like
well,
land and animals.
except the thing is, that's an important part of the story. I mean, a big part of what that article is about is that we've been through this entire cycle of industrialization on land, and it's left the environment thrashed. And we're at the beginning of the exact same cycle in the water, and it's early enough that we don't have to repeat history. So I'm a little bit worried about you guys not telling the whole story, because we're in this particular approach. This is very clear. This is great, but I feel like there still needs to be some of those examples of similar things that have happened earlier in the process on land. So
Is there an opportunity? Because I mean, this is just a whale. You have other characters.
Yeah, thinking we researched the olive Ridley sea turtle and the Japanese sea lion.
and maybe you can weave that story into this kind of stuff. I mean, maybe it could be, commercial whaling took off in 1905. Humans had been hunting, by 1905, commercial hunting for birds and animals on land had been over for 200 years because wild populations had been depleted. Like, in other words, maybe you can, the land stuff is little factoids that relate to milestones in the marine animal's life. So in other words, rather than having to lead us through a whole land timeline about animals being hunted, you talk about the fact that hunting for whales took off here. Humans had begun hunting animals on land, wild animals on land, thousands of years earlier, and by 1600, most wild animal stocks had been hunted to depletion or something like that. So it's almost like a little story that talks about the fact that industrialization began hitting the sea here, but it was already done on land.
Could there be one of these characters that only talks about the land, how we ravage the land? That could almost be like the first one that you do. Well, I guess you kind of can choose these just randomly.
You could do that
But,
too.
like how this one is just all about whales. Could there be another story that's just about the connection of the land and the ocean? Where you're not having to draw parallels so much with all it, because I think that's the hardest thing was like drawing a consistent parallel from one thing to another. When it's like, well, that kind of works, but scientifically, it's not a one-for-one deal. But if there's a way you can explain it to kind of give us an understanding of I guess it's almost like a base of what's happening here as well. It's like I guess it's just setting up. We destroyed so many of these animals on land, and then now we're going to do it to the water. But I think that this is less confusing, though. I mean, what you're showing, for me, this is less confusing than it was with trying to read.
Oh yeah, I mean, in
parallels.
terms of understanding the story of the issues of the whale, its population over time, the issues it's faced, how it's rebounded, this format is very easy to follow. In terms of telling the story of this particular animal, it's really easy to follow. But what's currently not evident is how it ties back to similar types of events that happened earlier in time on land, which is, but like I said, maybe you just have to have a couple of land animal examples, but maybe these types of things can accomplish it, meaning that along the way, we have to, 1760, maybe start here, 1760, industrialization, you know, by 1760, you know, for most of early humanity, you know, people were hunter-gatherers, you know, but by 1760, at the dawn of the industrial age, wild animals weren't really being hunted for food because their wild animal stocks have been killed off. Like, it sounds complicated the way I just said it, but like if you go back in time, people ran around and chased mammoths with spears, you know, and at some point we made farms because that stuff was gone. Like if you think about whales, they migrate all over the place. There's very few places in the world where big animals can still migrate the way that they used to, because the land's all carved up and developed and there's highways. But the ocean is still kind of open, except now we have all these busy shipping lanes that are starting to make it harder for them. But like, it's still pretty free range in the ocean. It hasn't been free range on the land for a really long time. And so I just wonder if you can tell that through a couple of anecdotes that go along with each animal.
I think we could do that. It makes sense, and it's, for me, I think it's better than doing a separate one,
Doing a separate one.
because then we have to, it divides our focus.
But I really like this narrative format. These hotspots, one to the other, related information. As you work your way through it, you keep what came before. That's all really. I think that's really clear to me. That's really
and then
clear.
each step it gets smaller. That's like the population.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it
I
gets
think
bigger
the way
over
we
here.
choose these events, and then these can provide correlations to land animals. Like
Yeah,
you said,
exactly.
the way we choose
Exactly.
this event.
Maybe that's how you do it. And each one of these lines. I don't know that you need tons of these. I think it's on the story of the whale. There's 2 or maybe 3 sort of anecdotes about what happened on land, either at that time or at an earlier
It
time.
could be like by 1904, maybe there's something went extinct on land. At this time, what happened on land? The dodo
Humans had done
extinction.
something similar with the buffalo.
Yeah.
60 years earlier or something. Something like that.
I think it'll be interesting though, like with the whale, if there's 1500, it's like you can really sell the story that like they're on the brink right here, and this circle is just really constricting, right? And then like you're saying, when it starts to rebound, and then it's like, okay, there's hope. That's kind of what we've been talking about this whole time.
You guys are imagining there's a aquarium employee
To facilitate.
facilitate or help or standing next to somebody as that. I guess you could stand next to a kid and let the kid set the thing down. But is there a facilitator there?
I think so.
I guess it's more for safety concerns of stealing the toy.
And
we
also-
kind of changed it where like there'd be one in different each location. Like this would be where that whale sculpture is. There'd be another one where the sea lions are. So if there's only one toy per table, I don't know what else the facilitator's job would be besides to just make sure that it doesn't get stolen.
Maybe a time limit.
Yeah, or like manage the children.
That's a big one though. And actually a facilitator, another way to think about it too is if you're letting the kids freeform it, it's pretty much one user or family at a time.
Yeah.
And with the facilitator talking, even if you decide to get really interactive and say, hey, what's your name, little Joey? Here's a whale, set it on the table. But there could be 10 other people standing behind it hearing the same presentation, so you have 10 times the capacity, if you think about it that way. In addition to the toy not getting stolen.
And if you think about it, it's had another angle of, I can be standing here and the kid can be over there, and the audience can look this way. Or
Right.
So, I don't know if we take that.
So I think you actually get multiple benefits by proposing a facilitator,
Okay.
including not losing the toys, but I think the experience can support more people viewing it and understanding it.
Because in that way, if you have someone helping you through, it's like you're not, people aren't just like wasting like 10 minutes just on this, or they're just like moving the wheel around like it's look at these things are moving. It's actually kind of a guided narrative to like the way people are like abusing the system, or just watching how the animations work when you put the object down.
Also, what do you think about the stuff that the land thing being as a temporary thing? Like if you move it here, if you move the animal, it just like show up and then it's gone. It's not like there all the time.
The land animal?
Yeah, it's like the dodo went extinct and then it's just gone. So after that, we won't have like a.
Well, I mean, the drawback of that is that, I was standing in the back row here, and my kid was having a fit, and then I looked back, and then I missed it.
I mean, it could be like, it's like a dodo bird, and then like it turns to a skeleton or something.
Maybe you leave behind a little trace of something, and that's something that somebody can ask about, I guess. But, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess the idea was to like
This is a
reveal
very-
the image,
Yeah, no, and I think it's a really nice data visualization, narrative, storytelling format. Just make sure that the land story, the parallels on the land don't get lost. But I think you guys can totally support it. These little green things can totally tell that story.
Does the zigzag confuse you when going up? It decreases.
Oh.
Yeah, we talked about like maybe the action of moving up relays to more positive feeling. So we're wondering if that versus, because like this makes sense when you're going down, the population goes down, and when you go up, population's going up.
Yeah.
Did you feel confused in any way about that?
Oh, I see. Because I guess you could start at the beginning. It could be up here, right? And then you could do that, so that the path kind of mirrors the trend in the population. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
I don't get that. I mean, I see these as their own universe, so like they're almost like an organic layout.
Yeah.
So like wherever these go, this circle is telling
Yeah.
the story.
Yeah, I would say that. I mean, that's certainly worth exploring, that they can have a relationship to the population curve. But I didn't feel that this was confusing either.
Alright.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like, let's talk about what happened back then. Let's talk about 1904. Let's talk about the 60s. And they felt like little moments in time.
Cool.
So then, is this the end?
No, it's the second two.
It's some more stuff, and then
Yeah, the circle's a little bigger.
start conservation progress.
Yeah,
And then this is the end.
yeah, and then it'd be the present.
Also ask them
Oh, yeah.
about the.
And so,
We want to tie back.
so there are some whale species that have not come back yet. And so we wanted, because this is a success story, but we wanted to show that there are species that still need help. And so we were thinking this would be kind of a call to action, like, look, it is possible, there is hope for, if one animal can do it, another can. So we were thinking like there'd be a way that they would put up here, and then it would take over the screen, and it would just say like, these are the whales that still need help, like here's how you can help. And so we had talked about maybe dividing it in like, here's how you can help as a child, here's how you can help as an adult, here's how you can help together.
Yeah, that's cool.
Something like that. Like it wouldn't say like, as a child, do these things, but it'd be, be like something.
Right.
Segmentation.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you're feeling okay with the persistence of data, like the whole pathway and everything is laid out like that?
You guys thinking of doing a tighter mock-up of that for next week?
Yeah,
Probably gonna do
maybe
another
like-
animation.
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, that'd be great. Take a lot of, I mean, you've been doing video of this, right?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Okay, this is a nice mock-up, definitely document it well for your own process documentation purposes.
Like a whale.
Nice.
Excited.
But yeah, no, it's good. It's good. And Doug being here next week, I mean, he can help. We can ask him to propose some specific examples of how he sees the story of the Industrial Revolution relating to the story of, I guess the fall and rise of Wales. So he can help us pick those specific examples, but do your best to show a couple that you think would work, and then be prepared to edit them if we need to.
And then I knew what he was gonna say, is like,
Okay.
oh, well, this doesn't make sense.
Sounds good.
You know, then your progression to the hierarchy is what you have. Yeah. And then we changed the fidelity, and it's like, why not?
What is this one again? Which whale is it?
Humpback whale.
Humpback whale. Very cool. I saw one in Hawaii. It was at like a public beach. Just rented some snorkeling equipment, and like literally they just came up above the water and like did like right out of the like nature documentary, like the breaching thing. I mean, it was a ways out, but really clear sight line, just like. Wow, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I went on a sailboat. I saw blue whales,
Oh, you
the
did?
giant ones.
Yeah.
And there's all these whale watching tours going around. And we're gonna sit. My dad's friend has a sailboat, and we were just kind of like, he's like, I just like to follow these whale watching tours because they know where
They know where they are.
are. So we were just kind of like following them, and then all of a sudden, just right next to us, the whale came up for air, and it was like literally like 10 feet from our
That's
boat.
amazing.
And like all the people in there, my dad's friend was saying, all these whale watching people are they spent $50 to go out there, but we got a better view. Cool. Well, I think you guys are on good track. It's definitely, it makes, in my head, it makes more sense now. I'm seeing more of a narrative. You guys are on the right track.
Do we email you guys the questions today for Doug? Or
Should we do that? Should we have Rachel?
Let's have Rachel compile a document.
Alright.
And then we've been talking about this with a couple of the other groups. I don't think we're expecting, like, the way we're, I think, going to approach this. We're not asking Doug to like fire back, immediately. But what we want this to be is so he can have a heads up on the kind of stuff that we're going to be talking about in class next week. So those kinds of questions will allow him, if he feels like he wants to share some additional documentation or papers that might help us, or just think about it before he gets here, so he's better able to. So I think we want to prep it basically.
Because the questions are more like really specific.
And that's okay. And if he hasn't written back with an answer, you can bust that out and say, first of all, does this seem like the right kind of example to show? And by the way, how can we get the answer to that? We're looking for this number, this data. Where can we find it? And that's great. So yeah, let's have Rachel compile that, and she'll
Okay.
send it to Susanna and do the official channels. Communicate through official channels.
Awesome.
Thank you.
thank you.
Great, thanks.
Let's do one thing. That's all.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry about that.
So my mind has completely changed.